Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Top Bunk Sports Live. I am your guy, David, and I got my co-host, Randy from Randy Talks Mets. What up, my guy? How we feeling?
What's up? What's up, man? Feeling good, feeling great. Honestly, when it comes to the New York Mets, they are making moves, and man, I can't be any more happier, man. Randy Talks Mets, guys, on YouTube. Randy Talks Mets on Twitter. Yeah, man, let's go Mets.
Absolutely. Well, let's get straight down to the important news of the day before anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, the Young Three is officially complete. And man, I don't know what else to say, man. We've a lot of people have been calling for this kid for a very long time,
Hmm.
and it's here, and it's here. Brandon Sproat. It was announced today earlier that Brandon Sproat was being officially called up to the main roster and will make the start on Saturday against or Saturday. I think it was Saturday or Sunday.
Sunday, it's Sunday.
Sunday, excuse me.
Hmm.
He will make the start on Sunday against the Cincinnati Reds. And that, my friend, is a very important series only because of the fact that when you're talking about a must-win series for the New York Mets, where the Cincinnati Reds right now are not only dealing with the fact that they got to chase us, but they got to fight for that, fight to get there with the San Francisco Giants, who pretty much dominated the Colorado Rockies and have the easier schedule than anybody else in the league right now. Winning that, taking a sweep or taking 2 out of 3 is very important in the Cincinnati series. And then you have Brandon Sproat coming up, and now the anticipation to see another young arm where we've already seen Nolan McLean, and Jonah Tong. Now you're adding another elite arm that was in your top 5 prospect list in Brandon Sproat, who everybody anticipated was going to come up. I mean, it was between him or Tyler McGill. I would have not been shocked if they would have called McGill because of the fact that, like I've said in the past, they cater to him so much. But because of the fact that he's trusting in these young arms to come up, and he thinks that, and David Stearns thinks that it's time. I think that it's a very important announcement. It's very big for the spark of this rotation that's in need of a spark.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he pitches in Cincinnati for his debut. I know it's going to be a lot of butterflies, but Randy, give me your thoughts on this.
No, I honestly love it. I think when it comes to Brandon Sproat, this is somebody that I've been wanting to be called up for a while now. Obviously, when the season started, there was talk about Brandon Sproat being the guy to be called up, even though he struggled in AAA a little bit last year. But this is the guy that a lot of Met fans wanted. They wanted Brandon Sproat because this guy has a fastball that goes up to 99 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour at times. He has a nasty slider. He has a changeup that's nasty as well. I really like his pitch mix. I really do. But the fact that you saw McLean and you seen Tong pass this guy, it's crazy because Tong and McLean were in AA when the season started. Brandon Sproat, when the season started, was in AAA. So it says a whole lot about where the progression of Nolan McLean and Jonah Tong, definitely what happened with them. And now you see they passed Brandon Sproat, but now it was like, when is Brandon Sproat going to get the call up? When is Brandon Sproat going to get up? So I'm happy that they're not going the safe route and going for a Tyler McGill and actually going for a Brandon Sproat, who I think Brandon Sproat to me is a guy that can be a real horse for this team, especially, man, and the starting rotation. And I'm so happy that he finally is here.
Absolutely. Before we get into the graphics real quick that I made for him, shout out to the 23 that's watching, and shout out to Jacob Pedruzzi who's in the chat. He says, "What's good, y'all?" He says, "I wish my Yankees would promote the young dudes like y'all
Mm.
are doing." I mean, no comment, because I'll tell you
Oh,
one thing.
man.
I don't want to make this a Yankee thing, but when Jason Dominguez was called up, a lot of you guys never really gave him an opportunity.
Mm.
And not only talking about the fans, but I'm also talking about Aaron Boone not giving him an opportunity as well. It's funny how when you guys had him as a leadoff hitter, he was actually hitting the ball pretty well consistently, and then all of a sudden he drops from the leadoff position, and then you guys wonder why he really hasn't found it offensively. It's just weird how y'all treat that kid. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm scared for any of the young other kids to be treated that well. Maybe it's because Aaron Boone is still the head of the table. Um, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe he just doesn't
Mhm.
like playing as young guys. Maybe he's just a Buck Showalter 2.0. But
Mhm.
that what y'all doing to Dominguez, man, for that kid to show so much potential
Yeah.
and him being slapped in the face like that, I think is
But
very
David, it says a lot. It says a lot about the New York Mets that David Stearns throughout this season, nobody expected to see Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sproat this season. Maybe a Nolan McLean, maybe a Brandon Sproat, maybe one starter. But the fact that you're getting the 3 young starters is crazy to me. And I'm so happy that this is happening. Now, unfortunately, it's happening because the starting pitching for Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea, Clay Holmes, these guys are struggling. And that is the reason why David Stearns is making up these call-ups. He didn't get anyone in the deadline to be a starting pitcher. So obviously there was talk about these guys coming up. And I'm happy that they really, they're here. They're here. And I
right.
can't wait to see Brandon Sproat.
Right. Well, let's look a little bit of at his numbers. I actually posted his numbers when I made the post. So I made the post maybe about a couple minutes after it was announced. Shout out to Chase Ford. Chase Ford is a reporter down in the minor leagues, and he was the first to be on the news. As you can see right here, he posted it right away. So the New York Mets are calling up right-handed pitcher Brandon Sproat to start Sunday for what will be his major league debut. And then he kind of posted some stats. Sproat had a 4.24 ERA along with 113 strikeouts in 121 innings for the Syracuse Mets. So, I kind of took the liberty of writing the same exact, not the same exact thing, kind of putting the expanded stats. 26 appearances, an 8-6 record, 121.2 innings pitched, like he said, 130 Ks, like he said, 53 walks, and a WHIP of 1.24. So again, Chase Ford was on it first. So anybody that knows, I give credit to whoever promotes it first. I'm no big source, so I don't get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Shout
don't
out to
report
Chase
nothing.
Ford, man.
So shout out to Chase Ford for putting that out, because I also saw the comments when he posted it, and people were like, "You're lying. You don't
Yeah.
have credible sources. You're this.
Mm-hmm.
You're that." And again, he was right on it. And if you look at the numbers on his tweets, he's got it's doing pretty good. So shout out to him for making that.
For
But
sure.
my
Right.
your final thoughts on your predictions. I'll say on how you think Brandon Sproat is going to turn out for on Sunday.
Honestly, I think Brandon Sproat is going to be nervous. I think this guy is young, but he's also a little polished as well.
Hmm.
He's not a high school pitcher like Jonah Tong. He was obviously drafted as a college pitcher. So I think when it comes to Brandon Sproat, this is a very talented guy. I think he's been waiting. I'm gonna say 6 innings, 2 runs allowed. That is what I'm gonna say. Now I hope it's better than that, but I don't have no problem with that.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen.
What's your
I
prediction?
don't.
I got
My prediction. Well, in terms of just Sunday itself, my prediction is he's going 6. Maybe he
okay.
gives up 5. I'll say he gives up 5 hits.
Okay.
Um, I could see him giving up a run, maybe 2,
Mm,
but I think he locks in.
mhm.
I think he locks in. I think a lot of people look at his ERA and kind of judge
Mm,
him for what it is. He obviously
yeah.
hasn't been spectacular like Nolan McLean or Jonah Tong have when they were in AAA this year, but his stuff has been way more effective than it was last year. Last year he struggled very, very much. So this year he's been much better, and it's prompted them to look at him and be like, yeah, we think this kid is ready. Like even if the numbers say what they are, his stuff right now is major league ready, and they need to save this rotation guys, I'm gonna put this out there real quick. I'm gonna give you a scenario, right? Because I was gonna do a video. Let me get to the comments real quick before I get to that.
For
Patrick,
sure, for
Patrick is
sure.
in here. He says, "Have 3 rookies ever start consecutive postseason games before?" So he asked us that question.
I
Randy, I don't know
mean,
if you know that. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. I don't know if I know that perfectly. I know in 2015 we had Harvey, we had Syndergaard, and we had. I
Yeah, but
mean,
I don't think they were rookies though.
they probably weren't rookies. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
honestly know. I don't think. I honestly don't know. But
nah,
if
yeah.
it is, I'm happy that they're getting the chance.
Mhm.
You know.
The bone Mike says the answer
Oh, the
is
answer is
no.
no.
Well,
Okay,
I guess.
the
Well, I
answer is
guess.
no.
Hey. Shout out to
That's
my
what he's
guy
saying.
Chris. I
Shout
guess
out
so.
to Chris Torres. Shout out to Chris
That's
Torres.
I guess he's saying. I guess he's saying no. I wouldn't. I was actually gonna search that up, but we'll go with yeah. We'll go. Chris is saying he doesn't think so either. But Chris, shout out to
Mm,
you. I'm gonna be on the live. I'm gonna be on a live on Seven Express podcast later on tonight with Chris. So
mm.
make sure y'all follow the Seven Express podcast on X, YouTube, and Instagram, and make sure you guys check out our live on YouTube at 8:30. But the question that I was gonna ask you is this, and this kind of goes to shout out to Queens Baseball, shout out to Pope. Yeah, shout out to Queens Baseball, shout out to Pope, shout out to Master Flip. We're doing it big. We're doing it big. So shout out to
Yes, sir.
shout out to Queens Baseball. I have a question because in that live that the space that Pope did earlier, I
Mm.
basically said that I think it's good what they're doing in terms of taking the 3 young kids in McLean, Tong, and Sproat and putting them in this position. And when I mean position, I mean pressure situation. The Mets, regardless of how you look at it, are in a pressure situation right now because they have to win every series that they could possibly win to stay intact in this wild card position. No matter if they're 5, 6 games up, you got to protect that lead. You gave up your lead in the division to the Phillies because of how many games you lost and how much you've struggled. So you're still intact to make the playoffs in the wild card. You have a 5-game lead over the Cincinnati Reds and the San Francisco Giants right now because they're literally tied in the standings. You got to protect that lead. As much as you're putting them in a pressure situation, I would run. I know people are kind of like, I don't know because they're young and they're in a pressure situation for the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if that's gonna work. I'm gonna tell you something right now. The vets on this team have struggled so bad that I'd rather take my money putting either Peterson, McLean, and Tong, or just roll with the 3 in a wild card. And I'm just talking about the wild card because we know when we get to the division series, you can expand and you could put at least 4 pitchers in a rotation, or maybe 5
Mm-hmm.
pitchers
For
for your
sure.
playoff rotation. We're just talking about the 3. We're not, and nobody should be confident in the vets that we have in Senga, Manaya, even. Listen, I love Clay, but when I talk about inconsistent, he's been one of them. Fuck the record. Fuck the numbers on his ERA. Fuck them on the strikeouts and the innings pitched. Watch the games and go look at how inconsistent he has been.
Yes.
I have said in the playoffs, let's put Clay Holmes in the bullpen as much as anybody else. A lot of people have said that, and there's a reason for that, right?
Mm.
I'd much rather roll with the punches of my young kids who have given you length, pause, who have gone more than 6 innings at times. Well, Tong is you can't really put it on Tong, but he would have if the defense didn't fuck him over in the 4th and 5th inning. But
Yeah.
Nolan McLean has been the only guy since being called up to go more than 6 innings. So I'd rather roll with the punches of my young kids and be like, yo, it's do or die, and hope that the offense continues its hot momentum and provides them with run support than going with the veterans who are really trash right now.
Oh, I
I don't know
completely
what you think.
agree. I completely agree. I think when it comes to McLean, when it comes to these young kids, I think you got to have some confidence in these kids. You got to give these kids the chances right now because, like you said, the veterans are not giving him the veterans are just not doing the job. They're not doing the job consistently. Like Clay Holmes, he's been okay. Like he's converted from a reliever to a starter, but he's been okay. It hasn't been the best, but it hasn't been the worst. But it is what it is. He's not going to give you 5 innings. He's not going to give you 6 innings, 7 innings. He's not going to give you that length in the starting rotation. So, and then Sean Manaea is a guy that has to deal with a bone spur. He's deal with injuries. And he might have to have a surgery in the offseason. So that got to be definitely talked about as well. But then you got Senga, who's a guy that the Mets are definitely talking to and probably going to option him to the minors. And he maybe could he accept maybe he can accept it and he can go to the minors. I think honestly, when it comes to the Mets, you got to trust these young guys. You got to trust these young guys. So there's so much talent there, but right now, my postseason is David Peterson. I got to go number 1 just because of experience. That's just me. I got to go McLean number 2, and I got to go maybe Jonah Tong number 3. But obviously, maybe have Clay Holmes or someone like Sean Manaea piggyback him after that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of Nolan McLean, let's look at his numbers when he pitched in game 2 on Tuesday. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 7 Ks. Now, if you remember, at least 3 innings, he couldn't find nothing on his breaking pitch. He could not get any of his breaking pitches in his zone. His fastball was the only thing that was on his side. All of a sudden, after struggling, he's in a roll. He retires 13 straight, and they couldn't touch him. They couldn't touch him. So that another immaculate start from Nolan McLean. But I do want to get to. But before we get to that, let me get to the comments. We got
Sure.
we got Sanders Cancel. He says, "Hi Randy, I think the Mets rotation is going to be as good as the 1986 rotation. Gooden,
Wow.
Darling, Fernandez, and Ojeda."
Wow. I mean, I love it. Honestly, I hope so.
That's pressure right there, Sanders. That's pressure right there.
The Tigers broadcast was already putting the pressure when they were comparing him to Tom Seaver after 3 starts and comparing the 3 starts. It was crazy.
That's pressure right there. The bone Mike says Peterson is garbage.
Wow.
I mean, he's been our besides it's him and Clay Holmes that have been the most consistent. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm when we're talking about the vets, we're strictly just been talking about the vets. They've been the only 2 consistent pitchers in our rotation. So I can't really call him garbage right now. I know he hasn't been what he was last year, but he's kind of been suitable in terms of being trustworthy. I know he got hit up his last start against the Marlins, but I can't deny his success since last year. McLean, he said Patrick Sinclair says McLean is the ace of the Mets.
Wow.
Okay.
That says a lot.
That says a lot.
After 4 starts, you're calling him the ace of the Mets. It says a whole lot. It says a whole lot about where that rotation is right now.
Sanders Cancel says McLean, Sproat, and Tong are going to lead the Mets to a World Series victory. These kids are going to be the ace. That is putting a lot of pressure. You guys are putting a lot of pressure on these kids, man. I mean, again, they've looked good so far, right? But you got to give them time, man. It takes time to adjust. My guy Chris says, to be fair, Clay has never pitched this much innings in his career. I can't knock him that much. He's been better than what I expected, to be honest. Yeah, no. Trust me. In no way am I shitting on Clay Holmes at all. Clay Holmes has been phenomenal for what he's given to us, right? I can't complain at all. Again, the numbers speak for itself. My thing is, and again, not saying that nobody watches the games here every day. We all watch the fucking games every day, whether it's on a positive note or a negative note. But because he's been a little bit inconsistent, and that's probably not his fault because again, this is the first year in his career probably that well, I say probably because I think he was a starter back in like 2018 before he got moved to the pen, but because he's back to being a starter after so long, it's hard to kind of give him shit, but because of his experience as a reliever, and because the Mets found success in giving that role to David Peterson for the playoffs, why not give that role to him, right? Where you can use your guys like Nolan, like Jonah, like Sproat, if Sproat is successful for the amount of games that he pitches up until the playoffs, why not give them that starting role and start the energy there? You know what I'm saying? So then if they find themselves into trouble or they find themselves going into the fifth inning and then they're done, you can bring another heavy hitter like Clay Holmes and he can give you multiple innings since he's already did it for a full season. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only way I see it. Just because again, the negative part about him being a starter is that he gives up a lot of walks. And when he leaves baseballs over the plate, they hit him pretty hard. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not all the time, but when you're watching him struggle, it's rough to see. And then sometimes you have that thought like, damn, maybe he should just be in the bullpen this year. But you're not wrong, bro. The expectation, for me, I didn't have any high expectations for him. I said, listen, if this is what they want to try, let him be. And if it doesn't work, you use him as a reliever. He's
I mean, the
exceeded
beginning of the season,
expectations.
I thought it was a weird move, obviously, to sign Clay Holmes. I mean, the move, it hasn't been, the worst move. Like, he's given them consistent starts. He hasn't really been injured. So I think it's been a success overall. But I just think right now, he's not giving you the length that you need in the rotation. He's just not giving you innings. And he's giving you maybe 4 innings. And it was a good start. It was an okay start. Like, it wasn't, whatever you want to quote unquote good start, but it's not a quality start. He's not giving you 6 innings. He's not giving you, 5 innings there. So he's giving you 4 innings and he's not even going to the 5th. It hurts the team and it's hurting the bullpen. It's hurting the team overall with the bullpen because you're going to have to go with these guys, go and use a Gregory Soto who was coming out of the 4th inning. 4th inning we're talking about. It's crazy. You got Helsley, you got all these guys, and these guys are being used, overused. Ryan Stanek, all of them. It's tough.
Right. Let's go to some comments here before we move on. We got San in the building. San says, "Hey, rookies have played in the playoffs and succeeded. Why not our guys?" You're right.
Why not our guys?
You're right. But this goes back to my point. San, I don't know if you were here in the very beginning, but this goes back to my point where because your vets in Manaya, your vets in Senga, who may not even touch the playoff roster if for how bad he's looked, right? And we're gonna get to the Senga shit that came out. Shout out to Will Salmon. Because of how bad they look, you bringing up your rookies here at this moment in time where you need every game in September, or every series at least in September, to hold down your spot in the wild card, and you're putting them in that position to spark something. And I always use that word because that's what it is. If your vets are not giving you anything and every start is dreadful and they're not succeeding, your young kids are gonna try to give you something to help them out. I'm gonna roll with the punches with my young kids. If Jonathan duplicates his debut start, right, and gives you 7 and gives you 7, 8 strikeouts, right? Why not? If Brendan Sproat comes in on Sunday and pitches a hell of a game, again, that's giving me more confidence that I'm gonna roll with the kids in the wild card than roll with the vets, because then it's like you roll with the vets. You're listen, I don't mean to be nasty, but you're clinching ass cheeks for all 3 games. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be fucking honest with you. So that's just what it is. The Bone Mike says Hergert, Davinsky, and Waddle were better than Manaya, Senga, and Holmes. I mean, they were solid. They were solid. You got to give them credit. You gotta
I
give
mean, you
them
got to
credit.
give
They
them
did
credit.
was solid.
You got to give all those moves credit, to be honest.
Right. Patrick Sinclair says it's too late to call it pressure if they're literally starting games for us in a pennant race.
Yeah.
I would still call it pressure a little bit, Patrick, because of the fact that they've never been in that type of environment. They've never played in a big game like that. And no matter how many games you're playing, every game is a must win.
Yeah.
So as much as good as they are, right? I could say the only person that I honestly seen in my 10 like in my years, in my 24 years, well, not all 24, but in my years of watching the Mets, right? The only player that I could look at and say, yo, this kid's still young and he's performing like that in the playoffs is Mark Vientos. What Mark
Mm.
Vientos did last year when nobody expected him to really and when again, he that second half of the season when he went off, he shocked a lot of people, right? But for him to come into the playoffs is a different story and to continue his hot momentum and
Mm.
literally put the Mets on his back with Lindor, you know, that right there, I was like, yo, this kid doesn't care about pressure. Like
Hmm.
he's literally showing right
Some
now in
guys
the
just have that clutch gene. Just some guys just
right,
have that it factor when it comes
right,
to that clutch factor. And I think Mark Vientos, he has it. He definitely has it. And you hope that these kids have it. You hope that McLean and Jonah Tong and all these guys have it. But
right,
you don't know. But what you've seen from McLean so far is he's a gamer. He's a guy that can deal with some adversity and still get past it.
right. Let's go to the next comment. Shout out to my guy Anthony from Subway to Shea. Appreciate you,
Shout
Vince,
out to
being here,
Anthony.
my guy. Make sure you guys like all his videos and all his posts on X. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel, man. He is kicking, he is killing it right now, man.
Mm.
That is my guy. I appreciate you for coming in, bro. I appreciate you always. He says he's honestly been the most consistent starter. Talking about Clay Holmes. He was supposed to be a 4 to 5. It's really on Senga, Manaya, Montas, and whenever Peterson has an off night. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. That is a great point. I am not disagreeing with you guys on Clay Holmes' year and how good he's been. My only thing is about, maybe utilizing him in the bullpen. But as we're talking, now I'm kind of looking at it from a standpoint of maybe it would be beneficial to keep him in the rotation because he's already gotten comfortable and he's gotten through a full year, and just put Peterson back as a reliever in the playoffs since he's already
I,
had success doing that.
I disagree with that. I don't. I think Peterson he's your game one starter, a game two starter. He needs to be a starter in this rotation for the playoffs. He got Peterson to me has proven that he can be a gamer for this club. He's all year. He's pitched pretty much well. I think when it
Mhm.
comes to David Peterson, he has to be in the rotation. Has to.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I yeah, it's a tough one to think about. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then Anthony also adds on, the thing is, will the Mets risk having kids go over their pitch limits like Harvey for a playoff run? That's honestly a good question, bro.
I mean,
Honestly, a good question.
honestly, why not? Why not? At the end of the day, listen, this is a playoff run we're talking about. Like we're trying to get to the promised land over here. So I'll have no problem with it. Now, if the Mets have a problem with it, then they'll do what they need to do. But I
Mhm.
have no problem with honestly pushing these guys, and we already pushed these guys, and we're gonna even try to even push them more. So we'll see.
That's gonna be an interesting one to say the least, because how what they do for that wild card matchup, and who they play against. That's gonna be do they put their confidence in a struggling Manaya and in a struggling Peterson to a certain extent, um, or Clay? They roll the dice with Clay and be like, listen, you've kind of been our like Chris and Anthony were saying, you've been our most consistent pitcher. Why not? Jung Hoo Lee is in the building, and he says, what do the Mets do if Kodai Senga does not accept the demotion to the
Phew.
minors? I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna
We'll
get
get
to
to that.
that.
We'll
We're gonna
definitely
get
get
to
to that.
that. I'm gonna put your comment as a star. It started right here, and we're gonna get to that. That's something that, like I said, shout out to Will Salmon, that I didn't even think of when it
Mm.
came to what they were gonna do with Kodai Senga. And that whole article, first of all, he's a fucking asshole. Shout out to Will, because he dropped that shit at like fucking 12 o'clock at night when I was about to go to bed because I had to be up for work the next morning. Okay, San says they have no choice. Team needs pitching, and the vets will be there for them. Cheer them on. Roll the dice and see where they land. That's where I was looking at it. But now that Anthony kind of showed it, kind of spoke on it, like they're on the pitching limit right now. They're on a pitching limit, so it's like, do you push that? Do you just literally just push that because you're in the playoffs, or do you try to use your vets and be like, all right, let's wake the fuck up, let's go, we're here now. Like you guys know what it takes. Let's fucking do it. So we'll see. Jung Hoo Lee adds, Peterson giving up 8 runs to the Marlins is embarrassing. Peterson is a fraud. I disagree with that. Guys have off nights, and yes, it was embarrassing that he gave up 8 runs to the Marlins, but guys have off nights. And if you realize, again, at this point, there's no use of complaining about it, because every time we play the Marlins, they play us very tough. They're a pesky team. We can never play the Marlins easy. And as you saw in that series, that's what it was. As frustrating as it is, because we are a much better team than the Miami Marlins, they always play us pesky, and it's always a difficult series. History seems to repeat itself every year. So I disagree with that comment, but to each his own. My girl Eva's in here. She says, "Hi, my friends. Great live. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, mama. Thank you."
Appreciate you, Eva.
Before we get into the nitty and gritty of the whole Kodai Senga thing, let's kind of just recap the series in Detroit. The Mets start off September with a 2-1 record. They took 2 out of 3 from the Detroit Tigers, and I'll tell you right now, I don't think anybody was giving us a chance, especially the way we took Game 1 and Game 2. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think, you look at the standings and you look at where Detroit's at and how they've been playing. Again, they're a really good hitting team. They don't back down. Their pitching is solid. Obviously, thank God, thank you Jesus, that we didn't fucking have to face Tyreek Skubal, because I think he would have fucking killed us. Who knows? But
for real.
Again, we took care of business. We took care of business. But for the first game, at least, when you pay attention to, and I'll go over the stat right here. I had Juan Soto. Juan Soto's best game, in my opinion, as a New York Met. 2 for 3. He scored in 2 runs. He had 6 RBIs with 2 walks and 1 grand salami that we were waiting for. I know everybody's talking about the 3-run homers and all that. A grand salami from Juan Soto, it was literally like a fresh of breath there. But
and it was our first stream, David. Our first stream, David.
Right. Our first stream. It's funny because we couldn't go live on yesterday's game, and they ended up losing. So I feel like we kind of played a part in that. But again, being able to come in there on the opener, the series opener, and kind of just dominate with 10 runs, it said something. And again, for Juan Soto to kind of lead the way and really play a big part of that, it just shows that he's on a tear right now. Then you go on to Game 2, right? You go on to Game 2, and the offensive power continued from there. A 12-5 win. Jeff McNeil, I had him as the player of the game. He went 3 for 5. He scored in 1 run, had 3 RBIs, and again, Jeff McNeil. Just want to talk about him for a second. Jeff McNeil, what can I say? Because you know what? I got to hold myself. Matter of fact, I might have to go print out an apology slip for Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil was a guy in May. I would say starting in May. I said, yo, we're probably going to have to trade this guy. Since I said that comment, since a lot of people wanted him gone, Jeff McNeil has been on a fucking tear. And again, we all said about the conversation with Jeff McNeil that his time was done. that it was Acuna's time, that it was Ronnie Mauricio's time, that it was Brett Beatty's time because they were having Brett Beatty play second base for a certain amount of time. We all said Jeff McNeil was done. Now look how the chips have unfolded. Acuna is barely playing the field, and he's only touching the field when he comes in for a pitch runner. Ronnie Mauricio is not getting no playing time. And the only time Jeff McNeil is not playing second base is when he's playing the outfield for Brett Beatty to play the infield. Other than that, Jeff McNeil is your everyday second baseman as of right now. My guy, what are your thoughts on the turnaround for the veteran Jeff McNeil?
All right. What I will say is I wasn't one of those guys. I was one of those guys that honestly discounted Jeff McNeil. I thought he had a bad attitude. I thought, first of all, he just overall wasn't going to be a player for us going forward. And that was the beginning of the year. I thought they were going to trade him in the offseason, and they didn't do that. And I was pretty surprised because I was thinking the same thing as you. They're going to have Acuna, they're going to have Mauricio, they're going to have these young guys come. But it says a lot that David Stearns, he didn't trade him. He kept Jeff McNeil. And it says a lot about what Jeff McNeil was doing. I mean, Jeff McNeil is having a really good season overall. He has been one of our most consistent players. And I mean, hats off to Jeff McNeil. I mean, I have to apologize to Jeff McNeil because, I mean, what's it called? Last year, I was on Pete Alonso, and I apologized to Pete Alonso. And now I'm going to apologize here to Jeff McNeil because Jeff McNeil is having a really good season, getting clutch hits, doing what he needs to do. And he is such a versatile player that it helps the team in every single way. He can play second base. He can play third base if you want. Now, we don't have him at third base a lot, but he can play multiple positions. He can play center field, second base, first base. He's an emergency catcher. I mean, it's crazy what it is. I mean, it's insane. But what I will say is hats off to him. Hats off to Jeff McNeil. Keep it up. We need you to keep being this clutch hitter. And I'm happy that he got over this, obviously after 2022, when he won the batting championship, the batting champion, he struggled in 2023. And then in 2024, he was good in the second half. But overall, 25, he's just been a really consistent player for us. So hats off to Jeff McNeil.
Absolutely. Again, he was your player of the game for game 2. And then you go into game 3. I'll get to those stats in a second. I just want to get to game 3. Let me ask you a question. What did you feel like could have went right? Well, I want to get to this guy first. Obviously, shout out to Clay Holmes. Clay looked good for 4 innings. Clay, obviously, I think the only struggle that he had was with walks. And if you notice, probably maybe for about 3 innings, he walked the leadoff hitter. But he was able to he found himself in a little bit of trouble, but he was able to get out of the jams. And then in that 5th inning, he just couldn't find his groove. What did you think about his start in yesterday's game?
I mean, in yesterday's game, I thought overall it was an okay start. Like he did what he kind of needed to do for those 4 innings. But the thing is about this guy, he just can't give you 5 and 6 innings. And it seems like the third part of the order, he struggles with walks. He struggles with the control. And you saw those walks hurt the Mets. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I think it's just because he was a reliever. And he's still obviously converting to be a starter. But I think that has to do a lot with what you're getting. You're only getting 4 innings, maybe sometimes 5 innings, but really it's not a lot of length from Clay Holmes. But the walks to me, I don't know. The walks to me, he's been walking guys all year. We've seen the same thing all year. Clay Holmes with the control, it just hasn't been good. I think his breaking pitches have a little, I think he has too much movement on his breaking pitches. And that's crazy to even say because you see McClain and he has an amazing movement. But I think what Clay Holmes has with the movement of his pitches, sometimes he can't get it to where it's going. He can't get it to where he wants to go. So I think that's the fact. I think that's leading to those walks. What do you think of that? What do you think about that, David?
I think him not being able to find his his control on his breaking pitches is what's hurting him because his fastball's not bad. Like he's been really good with his fastball. He's had some good movement on his fastball. It's his breaking pitches that he tends to struggle with. Um, when his curveball is on, he gets a lot of swing and misses. But when it's not, he again it's out the zone. He walks guys because he relies on his curveball and changeup a lot. But his fastball's been on point. I just think in that inning, because he had already walked two guys, and then his pitch count was high when Mendoza came to take him out. I know a lot of people were kind of like, well, why don't you just leave him? I get it. He was at 80 something pitches when Mendoza took him out, but it's like you would have killed him if he would have stayed in there after putting two guys on, and then he would have given up the lead. Like Gregory Soto didn't help him out. I get that,
And he walked two guys in that same inning. David, he walked two guys in that same inning. So I don't have a problem with what Mendoza did, taking out Clay Holmes in that situation, because you're trying to win this game. And Clay Holmes, I'm sorry, but you're walking guys, and that's going to probably lead to runs. So you got to make decisions, and it's hard, but you got to make decisions.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, then once Gregory Soto came in and they hit the two-run single that took a bad hop on Lindor, Mark Vientos, who has been hot, hits a nice RBI single to bring the Mets within one. But then all hell broke loose for the Mets when the bell tolled, but not for us. It tolled for the fucking Tigers. And Ryan Helsley once again comes in and shits the motherfucking bed and gives up a 3-run shot, I believe, to Carpenter. Kerry Carpenter, excuse me, not Kelly. Kerry Carpenter. and I'm just like, yo, this can't be. Mind you, if I'm not mistaken, I think he walked the first batter when he came in. And then he puts on another guy, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 2 walks. So you would think to yourself, yeah, that this guy.
I thought it was a bloop hit and then it was a walk. I might be bugging, but maybe
I forgot exactly how they got on at this very moment, but I know obviously it was 2, and then Carpenter came in.
Yeah.
When he gives up that home run, and I'm just watching, and I'm like, I hope it just goes off the wall. I hope it just goes off the wall, and it goes over the wall. I'm like, yo, what is it? What is it with this guy? I don't know about you, bro, but I can't put my finger on. And I know the tipping pitches bullshit is out there. I get it, whatever. I just don't understand what it is, bro. Can anybody tell me, the 85 that's in here watching us, do you guys want to comment and let me know what you guys think the problem with Ryan Helsley is, what the issue with him is? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. People like okay, there are people that got this notion that because he's struggling so bad that we lost the trade. I don't think we lost the trade. Like, did you have to give up a hefty price to get him? Yes. But I specifically remember everybody on X talking about that he was one of the best relief pitchers in the game when we got him. So I don't think we lost the trade. His performance, however, is where we're taking an L on because he sucks so bad.
Yeah.
But I can't put my finger, besides the tipping pitches shit, I can't put my finger on what the fuck is his problem. Like, even Mendoza, after the game yesterday, when they asked him about him, he basically was like, yo, we like he literally, he's like, don't know.
We don't know how to help this guy. We don't know how to help Ryan Helsley.
When your manager who basically takes a bullet for you most of the time comes out and says that, that's a fucking problem to me. That's an issue. Because it's like, he can't, even he's sitting there. And I get that. People want to kill him and be like, why'd you put him in a high leverage situation? Let me tell y'all something. Ryan Helsley has a fucking job to do. And Ryan Helsley is going to be, with the high velocity on his fastball and the great movement on his fucking curve that he has and a good slider that he has, you're going to have to probably put him in high leverage situations at certain times.
Oof.
So the fact that this guy can't get it done, that's not on Mendoza. That's not on Jeremy Hefner. That's on Ryan Helsley.
Yeah, now, but again, Carlos Mendoza could have brought in a Brooks Raley. He could have brought in a Diaz. He could have brought in a rested arms. They had a day off literally the next day, David, to be honest. So I think
I understand that. No, I
like
get that. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But at the same time, it's like, when is the excuses gonna stop? At some point, even when you do have 5 arms rested, you still got to use them at a certain time.
but why are
You
you
gotta
using them
get
in
you
a
gotta
three
get
to
the
why are you using them
you
in a 3-2 game in the seventh inning? Like
because you
I
still
don't
gotta
agree
he's
with
no
the fact that
I
I don't
right, go ahead, my bad.
no, I just don't like that he used him in that situation there in a 3-2 game when he's been struggling. And I get it. You want to get him right. I understand that. But I don't think that that's the situation to get him right there because it's a 3-2 game. And he's been horrible. He's been absolutely horrible. He's allowed 14 runs in 11 innings. Ryan Helsley has been probably one of the worst relievers ever since the trade deadline. I don't know how to help this guy either. Mendoza doesn't know how to help him, whether you want to call it tipping pitches or something. I'm just not happy with what I've seen from Ryan Helsley. And I don't know what the Mets do. I don't know how to get this guy right. I don't know what they do. I think there's a big issue with Ryan Helsley. Huge.
It's concerning. It's concerning because, again, David Stearns didn't address all the stuff that he needed to address, but he addressed something that he spoke about, and that was adding to the pen. And he got 3 quality arms, in my opinion. That definitely was an upgrade. And Gregory Soto has been okay. Rogers has been okay, but Helsley has just shit the fucking bed. And honestly, I'm telling you, I don't. There's not. I don't like. I really just watching him. I'm like, dude, he's throwing. He's got a high velocity on his fastball. His changeup looks great. And again, he's leaving. And the thing is, he's leaving the ball over the plate. So that could be an issue. But it's at some point, it's like, are we gonna have a conversation with this kid and try to fix the mechanics on his pitches? Like what needs to happen for
I
this
mean,
kid
they
to finally
tried to
find
move
success?
his glove down. That's what they tried to because his glove was up here and they tried to move his glove up here for they could stop the tipping of the pitches. But clearly, none of that is working.
It's
None of that.
not. It's not. But again, after Carpenter took him deep, they would score it would be a 6-2 score, and they would go on to win by that score. But there was something. So while Met fans were kind of upset about that game, not totally upset because you went into Detroit, a very pesky team that is about to win the AL Central, and you took 2 out of 3. So you start off the month of September on a good note. There was something that came out later that night that I think a lot of people were very frustrated with, and I'm gonna go back to this. I'm gonna go back to, I think was it the day before or was it that night? It must have been that night. Yeah, September 3rd.
Mm,
Yep, September 3rd.
the
Yes,
day
it
before.
was at
Okay.
it was at night. It was at night that I know for sure that it came out, and it was about Kodai Senga. And I put this tweet out, basically kind of just putting it out to kind of clarify what it was talking about. And I put the part of the article, so I'm gonna read it to you guys. Shout out to Will Salmon who put this article out, and it says, with Senga, the Mets are considering a few possibilities, including potentially asking him to accept an optional minor league assignment. People familiar with their thinking said Senga, however, may not be assigned to the minors without his consent, according to his contract. Senga said Tuesday night that he is willing to do whatever it takes for him to get better and help the team. A potential demotion because of poor performance would present a significant fall for Senga, who finished runner-up in the NL Rookie of the Year and was an All-Star in 2023. After pitching just one regular season game in 2024, he initially looked strong in 2025, producing a 1.39 ERA through his first 14 outings. He has posted a 6.56 ERA in 35 and 2/3 innings since then. However, and while he offers a high end potential, the Mets possess other options in David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Jonathan, and McLean. With prospect Brandon Sproat also lingering in AAA, which obviously he's up here now. The Mets rotation beyond the next few days is up in the air. Holmes is set to pitch against the Tigers. Okay, so this was the day before. On Wednesday, the Mets are off on Thursday. Peterson is scheduled to start Friday against the
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati Reds, with the rookie Tong likely to follow up on Saturday. And Senga's next turn would be Sunday. Obviously, not anymore. But
Yep.
give me your opinion on this article because I think it's very telling Um, Even though he hasn't really said anything, I think it I don't know what they do with him if he decides he doesn't want to go down.
I mean, I think it says a lot that you've seen the reaction from Carlos Mendoza. You've seen the him actually Senga and talk in the post game interview saying he doesn't feel good with his body. He doesn't know what's going on. He's trying to be a competitor, but it's not working. And he doesn't have confidence in his body. And to me, when you say that as a pitcher, I was pissed off that day when I heard that. I was like, why is he even starting? Why is he even in the rotation? I don't want him in the rotation. I don't think he should be in the rotation. And I think that the Mets have reacted to that. That comment was huge that Senga said. But overall, Carlos Mendoza was like, we don't know. We don't even know if he's going to make his next start. Like he kind of, he kind of basically said that. Like, yeah, he said something like that around there. And you see, he's not making his next start. Senga is not making his next start. And the fact that Will Salmon is saying this in this article that he's potentially that the Mets are going to ask Senga to take an option to the minors is crazy. The fact that this is a major league pitcher, he's been injured and he pitched to a 30, I think it was 39 or something. I thought it was 1.47 ERA in the first half, but maybe I was wrong.
Mhm.
But I mean, but I think when it comes to Senga, this is crazy. The fact that you're telling this guy to go to be option to the minors, but it's something that the Mets have to do. The Mets have to think about the organization. They can't think about his feelings. They can't think about that stuff. So I have no problem with the Mets asking Senga, "Hey, can you take this option to the minors? Because we need to get Sproat up here, and we also you're just not helping this team win games." And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because this is a guy who, to me, last year, you remember the day before he got hurt in that Atlanta Braves game, he was electric. The fastball was electric. The forkball was electric. The slider was nasty, or cutter, or whatever you want to call it. It was nasty. And then he got injured. But then this year, when he pitched to a 1 point something ERA, and then after he came back, he's been horrible. He's been absolutely horrible. So, I mean, credit to Will Salmon for the article because now I think you see that that's happening. Is he going to accept that offer? I don't know, but I'm hoping so. And what I truly think is the fact that they're calling up Brandon Sproat on Sunday, I think he already accepted it. That's what I think, but I don't know for sure.
Well, I mean, whether he did or not, I think that's the Mets putting their foot down and saying, "Listen, listen, my guy, you have one successful year within your rookie year. Um, you've been hurt the next year. You were hurt next year. You only made one start, and you look good in spring training and to start the year this season. But then you got hurt again, and you haven't been the same since you came back from that injury. At some point, because you've been so bad, we can't really run you out there right now until you get your shit together." And again, like it hasn't been confirmed whether he wants to go down or not. But I think you're right. I think them calling up Brandon Sproat is basically them. Either he agreed to it and said yeah, or they're like, listen, we're doing this for the better of your performance and for you to get better. So just take it, get better, and if you come back here before the wild card starts, all right, cool. We'll put Brendan Sproat in the bullpen, or we'll send him down, unfortunately, and we'll try it again with you. Or you keep Brendan Sproat here, depending on how good he ends up being, and you keep him on that wild card roster, and you bring up Senga for the division series. But again, Senga's left them with no choice because of how bad he's been pitching. So I'm hoping that he understands what they're trying to do. Again, it's his choice, but I hope he understands. Like, listen, you're one of the best pitch. You're one of the best pitchers we've ever had. You know what I'm saying? Like we trust in your stuff. That fork ball, that ghost pitch is no joke. Like there's some shit behind it. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is that you know batters are starting to read it. If you're noticing when he throws it, they don't really swing and miss on it that much.
Yep.
Batters just starting to pick it up. And then when he throws his fucking fastball, he's leaving it over the fucking plate in the zone. And what are they doing? They're yanking that shit out.
I think he doesn't have a lot of confidence in his fastball right now. That's what I think. I don't know when it comes to Kodai Senga. He's been it's crazy what has happened to him.
Right.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, listen, if that's the case and he doesn't have a lot of confidence in his fastball, that might be another reason why he needs to be sent down.
Mm-hmm.
Because, at this point in time, you not having confidence in your fastball,
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Overall,
problem for him.
David, I don't think he has confidence in anything right now. I don't think he's confident in his body. He's not confident in his pitching mechanics, so he shouldn't be up here. And I'm glad that the Mets are talking to him about going to the minors. And I'm glad they're calling up Brandon Sproat because like you said, they're putting their foot down. So
Right.
I love it.
Right. Well, we'll see what they do. But I do want to talk about some stats here. And I'm gonna start off with the team overall, and then we'll get into two individuals. One that I think everybody's they're kind of expecting, and then the other one is kind of somebody that not everybody's really talking about since he's came up. But the first thing that I want to show is how this team has been playing against fastballs. Now, mind you, if you remember, Randy, the talk of the town was that the Mets could not hit fastballs. If you remember that.
Mm. Oh,
That the
I
Met,
remember that for sure.
you if, that the Met, that this team struggled with hitting fastballs, and that they can never be consistent hitting fastballs. Well, since August 12th, as you guys see here, the Mets numbers against fastballs are extremely well. An average of 333, 59 extra base hits, a hard hit percentage of 53.8, slugging 631 with an OPS of 1.033. Randy, let me ask you this question: what have you seen within the adjustments this team has made against fastball so far that has prompted their success offensively as of late?
Well, we know that there was the article or whatever SNY posted it that there was talk. I think it was Eric Chavez that he talked about the data and that the Mets they were feeding so much data to the New York Mets and having them look for breaking balls and not try to look for the fastball, not try to be aggressive with the fastball. And now, ever since they've made that change overall, they just basically said, go back to basics, hit the ball, react to the breaking pitch. That's all you got
Right.
to do. And you've seen it. You've seen multiple guys. You've seen Brandon Nimmo. You've seen Juan Soto. You've seen Lindor. You've seen guys like Mark Vientos. These guys. You've seen a lot of Mets players really hit the fastball. And I love that that's what they're doing now. And the fact that what you said, David, they're one of the best teams hitting the fastball. So I feel like they needed to make this change and it's made the team better. It's made the offense better. And I'm happy that they made that change because, yeah, they needed it. They were one of the worst teams just scoring runs in run production. They were one of the worst teams in runners in scoring position. You saw that over the year. I mean, yeah, throughout most of the year, they were taking fastballs down the middle, in runners in scoring position opportunities. That to me was telling. I've been saying it most of the year. Why is Juan Soto taking a fastball down the middle? Why is Nimmo taking a fastball down the middle? What is going on? And then that report came out, and I was like, oh, that's why. And it's crazy. I don't know what you think, David, but I think it's insane.
The fact that they made their adjustments at this time is all that I need to see. Again, this team was lost when it came to hitting against fastballs, and now it seems like they've picked it up. They've changed their philosophy to the point where it's making Eric Chavez look like a fucking god. After so many of us, including myself, I've called it since May. I've said it in spaces. I still want Eric Chavez gone, but I gotta tip my cap. I gotta tip my cap to the guy because he's made certain adjustments to kind of help this team. Maybe it's him and Jeremy Barnes put together that has swayed them into dominating against fastballs so far, and
Yeah,
that's
and I
why
don't
you've
know,
seen the
David, I
success
don't
of the
know who they're
fastball.
listening to. Are they listening to Jeremy Barnes? Are they listening to Eric Chavez? I have no clue. But when
Right.
you talk about, when you look at articles, it talks, Jeremy Barnes is the one that looks like he's the one that's telling these guys to look at the data, be analytics driven. So I don't know if we could just fault Eric Chavez for everything. Like,
Right.
but credit to the Mets in general, just making this change, because it's made the team
Absolutely.
much, much better.
Absolutely. But let's get into the second stat. I got three. So that was the first one. Let's get into the second one. This guy right here, Luis Torrens. Man,
Wow.
Luis Torrens, again, we've credited him so much since last year for his defense, for the fact that he makes contact, and of course he's not a home run hitter, but he's able to put the ball in play. But he was a number two option behind Francisco Alvarez. Francisco Alvarez gets hurt, and now he's back to the number one. They brought up Hayden Sanger to be the number two behind Luis Torrens. And ever since Francisco Alvarez went down, these are the stats that you see since August 19th at least. Batting average of 324, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs, slugging 676 with an OPS of 1.038. Randy, what have you seen from Torrens so far since Alv went down, and his success so far since the 19th of August?
You know what I've seen? I've seen a lot of him using the field. I've seen a lot of him going opposite field and using that approach. That's what I've seen. And before this, he was pulling the ball a lot. He just wasn't, he'll hit a ball, he'll try to hit the ball for power, but it just wasn't working out. But I love that some guys just know how to step up. And I think Luis Torrens knows that the team needed him to step up when Francisco Alvarez, came down with the injury and was on the shelf. And yeah, some guys know how to step up. And I think Luis Torrens, he just stepped up and he used the field, and he got better. He
Right.
just locked in. Yeah, he locked in.
Right, and I also think it's the veteranship of what he brings to the table. Him being that type of guy that doesn't need to do too much. When you're looking for scoring in your lineup, you're not looking at Luis Torrens. And I think him understanding that, if everybody else is getting hot, I could get hot too. I don't got to
Mm.
do too much. I know I could trust my bat. Again, he's not a catcher that doesn't hit. Obviously, he hasn't been better this year than last year, but he's been able to show some type of uh, consistency the last week or so, and just like I said, really put the ball in play, really come through, especially with runners in scoring position. And you got to tip your cap, man, because as soon as Alfie went down, they put the keys on him, specifically from the catching position. So he's done a tremendous job, man. But the last of the night is this guy right here, the Matatang of the New York Mets, ladies and gentlemen, Juan fucking Soto. And I got a beef to pick with a lot of you motherfuckers, man. I got a beef to pick with a lot of you motherfuckers because you guys all said he wasn't happy. He didn't want to be here. He's feeling the pressure. He's not. He doesn't want to be a Met. He's in the wrong pinstripe. He should have went back to the crosstown. I don't know, man. Yo, Randy, I don't know if you saw, but he was smiling when
I
when
saw
he
I
hit that
saw it.
grand slam. He was
I saw it.
smiling when in the second game against Detroit. He
I
was out. He
saw it.
was out there. He was out here doing handshakes with Pete.
Oh, I saw it.
You,
I
you
saw it.
know. You know what I'm saying. I don't listen. I could be wrong, but I know what I saw. I know what I saw. But Juan Soto has been on a fucking tear since the end of August, going into the beginning of September. Let me just read you some stats. So you look at his 2025 stats: average 259. Say whatever you want about his average. I don't give a fuck. 37 home runs, 91 RBIs. But here's the one that surprises me the most: 91 stolen bases. That's the one
91?
right there. 91 stolen bases
91 stolen bases?
since I posted that. Yes, sir. This man is fucking
Wow.
robbing bags like nothing. Like he's a fucking leadoff hitter. Like he's Billy Hamilton part 2. Like that is what he's doing right now. And that's the fucking season that he's having with a OPS of 923. Then you look at the last 7 games, and this was posted, like I said, this was posted after game 2. Last 7 games, average of 417, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, slugging 1.125. there's nothing much I can fucking say. Randy, your thoughts on Juan Soto's recent success coming in before we wrap it up here?
Oh man, I think when it comes to Juan Soto, I love it. I love what I've seen from him. I love the success. He's been awesome. He's been great. He's hitting with runners in scoring position at a really good time that the Mets need. So I'm just really happy with what I've seen from Juan Soto. I feel like he's embraced being a Met. He feels comfortable now. In the beginning of the season, you saw the body language. It didn't look that great, but it takes time. These guys are human, and he needed time to get accustomed to a team. And I think he's now accustomed to the team and he's killing it. And he talks about him getting MVP votes now. This is a guy that wasn't even an all-star and was,
got robbed.
So he got robbed. He got robbed. Juan Soto should have been an all-star.
Juan Soto should have been an all-star over Julio Rodriguez and Fernando Tatis. Go look at the stats right before we started the All-Star break.
Completely agree.
He had better stats than Fernando Tatis. He had better stats than Julio Rodriguez.
He had better stats than Corbin Carroll as well. Corbin Carroll, he had better stats than.
Right. But again, since the league and everybody in the league want to kiss ass and want to play favorites, so be it. So be it. I think that motivates him. I think that motivated him to be like, you know what? Okay, y'all want to disrespect me like that? Cool. I can't wait.
Let me just correct David here with the stolen bases for Juan Soto. He had 27 stolen bases, but it says 91. But he had 27.
No, that's what I'm saying. 27 on the year, but it says 91. It said 91 on the thing. Is that career? That's career wise, right?
Oh, maybe is that career wise? Is that what you were saying?
No, it says Juan Soto and 20. That's an error on me, guys. Okay. My bad. That's an error on me, guys, because I put that as I looked at the career wise by accident. Everybody in the fucking thing is probably like, what the fuck?
No. I just
are you high? Are you high? See, this is why I have a co-host, because if I make mistakes like that, at least you could tell me right then and there. My bad, y'all. My bad. But yo, I appreciate y'all, man. There's 101 in here so far, man. We appreciate those that were commenting with us, that were keeping us active, that were watching just to watch. We appreciate you guys, man. The Mets have a day off. I hope everybody had a nice day off, kind of relaxed, kind of got away a little bit from the Mets and just kind of enjoyed it with their family, man. If any of you guys have kids, I hope everybody had a nice and healthy and safe first day of school. I work at a school, so it was hectic, but I hope everybody was able to get through the day safely. The Mets start a very important series, 3 in Cincinnati, with Cincinnati trying to fight and trying to get not only through us and take that their wild card, but they're trying to get past the San Francisco Giants right now, who are red hot and presumably I think are over them right now. So they lost to Toronto yesterday, and now they come in to try to take us off our game and send us a message, but I don't see it that way. But a big game to start on Friday. David Peterson takes them out. Randy, any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, this was a great stream. Appreciate you having me. You're great, man. You're awesome. And man, you're my brother. At the end of the day, I think when it comes to David Peterson also, I just want him to have a good start. Just bounce back. Let's see what happens. But let's go Mets. That's it.
Let's go Mets, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good night, and we will check you guys on the next video. Peace.